Welcome to Wisconsin in Focus. I'm JD Davidson. Third-party candidates are getting a lot of attention in Wisconsin during this election season, and rightfully so. The Badger State most likely will determine the next president of the United States, and those third-party candidates can siphon votes from both Republican and Democrats. This week, Robert Kennedy Jr. made the news. Joining us today is Ben Yount, Wisconsin contributor for the Center Square. And Ben, what happened with RFK Jr. this week, and why is it so critical to the rest of the nation?
Well, he sued is the short answer, but he sued to get off the ballot. Typically what we have in Wisconsin, certainly what we had 4 years ago, were third-party independent candidates suing to get on the ballot. Here, it's the reverse, that Kennedy, who dropped out, is asking a Dane County judge to remove him from the ballot. Now, we talked about this, or maybe I talked about this on one of the Center Square podcasts, the Wisconsin in Focus podcasts the other week. Wisconsin law is pretty clear. Once you're on the ballot, you're on the ballot. The only way you're getting off is if you die. And as the head of the Wisconsin Elections Commission put it during the hearing last week, he's not planning on dying, so he's on the ballot. The problem is, and this is something that we've, again, written about over at the Center Square, the rules for third-party candidates in Wisconsin are different. The ballot access rules are different than for majority party candidates, Republicans and Democrats versus Green Party or independent candidates. And you can't have that. You know, the law is the law and it's supposed to apply equally. And so the argument here is not just, oh, I feel bad, take me off. The argument here is that Republican or Democratic candidates have a couple of extra days. This is the lawsuit. Third-party candidates can't be treated differently and they can't be discriminated against. Yet that's what happened here. Republicans and Democrats have until 5 p.m. on, they say today, September 3rd, the first Tuesday of September, have till September 3rd to withdraw their nominees and replace them with someone else. Those rules don't apply to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He has not been treated fairly or equally with the other presidential candidates who declared and ran for the presidency and have since wanted to withdraw. Now, that's a reference to President Biden, who ran a campaign but then decided he wasn't, and all of a sudden Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee. But the difference is there, and this is a very, very big difference. Candidates aren't official until they're nominated by their party. Biden dropped out before the DNC. He was never nominated. Sure, he made the ballot for the primary, but he was not the official November candidate in Wisconsin. The question here is, yes, Wisconsin law says once you are on the ballot, you cannot get off. But Wisconsin's other election law says if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you have more time to get off that ballot. And that's a violation. You can't have a double standard. Whether or not this means that Kennedy's coming off the ballot, I don't know. Ballots are due from local clerks to voters September 19th. This lawsuit was filed in Dane County Court. I don't know that there's going to be enough time to go from there to the Wisconsin Supreme Court to get an order in enough time so that there aren't already ballots printed and in the mail to absentee voters.
Sure. And it is extremely interesting that there are two sets of rules. But when those of us who have been covering state house politics for a long time understand it's really not all that interesting. You have Republicans and Democrats making the rules. There aren't independents making the rules. So I'm going to give myself a little more time, but you other guys who could muddy the waters a little bit, you're not getting any more time. And this is the second week in a row that we've dealt with a third party candidate in Wisconsin and a court case.
Well, this was sort of the defense at the heart of the Democratic National Committee, that DNC, trying to keep Jill Stein off the ballot here in Wisconsin. That the defense, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, said, look, you can't have one set of rules for how Republicans and Democrats make the ballot and then have a separate set of rules as to how independent or third-party candidates can make the ballot. You know, you're dealing with ballot access. The rules have to be the same for everyone. Here now we have same issue, but getting off the ballot. Now, this is the trick box because the Wisconsin Supreme Court didn't deal with the merits of that Jill Stein kick her off the ballot case. They never came down and ruled what election law actually said. So if by some miracle this RFK Jr. case makes it to the Supreme Court quick enough to impact this fall's election, we could actually have to see this court issue a substantive ruling. Last time, they just dismissed it, said, nope, this isn't the proper venue. And that was it. And now we still do have the question of, okay, what do rules say? And are those rules fair? And you alluded to this with the opening question, that this has nothing really to do with good government. This is not a civics exercise. This is not Schoolhouse Rock. This is all about making sure that there are enough third-party candidates on the ballot to potentially mitigate the harm, to use the legal term, that Jill Stein could do. Wisconsin Supreme Court was stuck. There was no way they were going to be able to keep Jill Stein off the ballot this year. There was no issue to hang their hat on. There was no wrinkle to exploit. She's going to be on the ballot. Last time she was on the ballot, 2016, she got about 30,000 votes, more than enough for Donald Trump to win Wisconsin. 4 years ago, the Elections Commission kept the Green Party off the ballot. Joe Biden wins Wisconsin by about 22,000 votes. The fear is that you could have tens of thousands of voters vote for Jill Stein. Don't forget, she's not just the Green Party environmental candidate. She's one of the loudest and proudest anti-war in Gaza candidates. If you have angry college voters who don't like Joe Biden because he backs Israel, well, there's Jill Stein for you. And so the fear is that Jill Stein and the Green Party will take votes away from the Democrats. The remedy is, well, let's put all the other third-party candidates on the ballot. Let's put Bobby Kennedy Jr. He could take votes from Trump. The Constitution Party, they could maybe take votes from Trump. The Libertarian Party, they could maybe take votes from Trump. And so it very much is a sense of, well, if we've got to be stuck with our fringe party, then you, by God, are definitely going to be stuck with yours. It's going to be interesting because you can't have two standards for ballot access. I'm pretty sure the federal courts have been very, very clear about that. But time is the issue. This is, if you're doing the solve for X equation, X is September 19th. And how can we get the ballot sorted out before they're due to voters? Because once any ballot is in the mail, that's the ballot. And you're stuck with it and you're not changing it because you can't do voters like that.
Well, obviously time matters. And I feel like we'll be talking about this next week because some sort of decision is going to have to come within the next few days. Ben, thanks for joining us today. And listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.